Hello, and welcome back to Elderflowerings, the channel where we explore the ever-blooming wisdom of our later years. Have you ever felt like the world sees one version of you as you age, perhaps a little slower, a touch more forgetful, maybe even a bit faded? We're often met with a gentle pat on the arm, a well-meaning but slightly condescending tone, as if the brightest chapters of our lives have already been written and read. Society has a script for aging, doesn't it? One that often speaks of winding down, stepping back, and becoming less. But what if I told you that script is missing the most profound act? What if the narrative of decline is overshadowing a quiet, formidable force that's actually amplifying within you? It's a truth that often goes unspoken, a power that doesn't announce itself with fireworks, but with a deep, resonant hum. And understanding this can change not just how you see yourself, but how you navigate these precious years with newfound command. The unseen powerhouse, how age amplifies your inner strength. The real shocker isn't that we get older, we all know that's coming. The real surprise, the one that can truly take your breath away if you let it, is that aging, with all its perceived subtractions, is secretly forging an inner powerhouse. It's building a resilience so profound, a clarity so sharp, and an intuition so finely tuned that your younger self would stand in awe. But here's the rub. This powerhouse is often invisible, even to ourselves. We're so conditioned to look for external signs of strength, physical prowess, career achievements, the hustle and bustle of a crowded life, that we miss the quiet internal shifts that signify a far more potent form of power. Consider Eleanor, a lovely woman of 78. After her husband Arthur passed, her children, with the best intentions, started treating her like delicate china. "Don't worry about that, Mum," they'd say, taking over tasks she was perfectly capable of. Just rest. Eleanor, a woman who had managed a bustling household for 50 years, weathered economic storms, and nursed Arthur through his final illness with incredible fortitude, started to feel redundant. The help felt more like a diminishing. She began to doubt her own capabilities, not because they had lessened, but because the reflections she saw in others' eyes told her they had. One afternoon, her grandson was distraught over a significant career setback. Everyone offered him quick fixes, pep talks. Eleanor just listened. Then, drawing not on current business jargon, but on a lifetime of observing human nature, of navigating her own disappointments and triumphs, she shared a simple story from her own past, a time she'd felt similarly lost. She didn't offer advice, she offered perspective. Her words, calm and rooted, landed with a gentle thud of truth in his chaotic mind. He later told her, "Grandma, you didn't tell me what to do, but you showed me how to be with the problem." That was more powerful than anything. Eleanor hadn't lost her strength, its form had evolved. It was no longer in the doing, but in the deep well of her being. This is happening to more of us than we realize. This isn't to say aging is without its aches or its challenges. Of course, it brings changes. But what if the narrative we've been sold is incomplete? What if the fading of certain abilities is simply making space for the blooming of others, far more subtle but infinitely more powerful? The first layer of this unseen powerhouse is resilience reimagined. Think about it. How many storms have you weathered? The anxieties of youth, the pressures of midlife, the heartaches of loss. The triumphs that taught you humility, the failures that taught you even more. Each one of those experiences wasn't just something you went through, it was something that wove itself into you. Your cells remember, your spirit remembers. You've developed an emotional scar tissue that isn't tough in a brittle way, but in a flexible, enduring way. It's the quiet knowing that this too shall pass, because you've seen so many thises come and go. When you were younger, a setback might have felt like the end of the world. Now, there's a deeper understanding of life's ebb and flow. That's not apathy, that's earned wisdom. That's resilience that doesn't need to shout. Then there's the clarity of a long view. Imagine standing on a mountaintop after a long climb. The path behind you is visible, all its twists, turns, and treacherous spots. The view ahead is expansive. That's the perspective age gifts you. Petty squabbles that once consumed your energy now seem almost comical. The desperate need for external validation often quiets down. You begin to see patterns, not just in your own life, but in the larger human story. This clarity allows you to cut through the noise. When everyone else is panicking about the latest trend or crisis, you have a database of experience that provides context. You're less likely to be swayed by fleeting emotions or surface-level arguments. This doesn't mean you're rigid, it means you're rooted. Your decision-making, your advice, your very presence can become an anchor for those still caught in the churn. But here's where it gets tricky. This inner strength, this resilience and clarity is often misunderstood by others and sometimes even by ourselves. Because it's quiet, because it doesn't boast, it can be mistaken for passivity. Because you choose your battles more carefully, some might think you've lost your fight. This is where a new kind of vulnerability can creep in, not dissimilar to the one we discussed in our previous conversation about exploitation, but with a different root. People might try to take advantage, not because they see you as frail in the traditional sense, but because they underestimate your depth. They see the calm surface and don't recognize the powerful currents beneath. Let's talk about George, 82, a retired engineer. He's a man of few words, always has been. His children, and even some of his friends, started making more and more decisions for him, especially after his wife Martha, who was always the more vocal one, moved into a care facility. They'd discuss his finances in front of him as if he weren't there. They'd plan his days, assuming he'd just go along. What they didn't see was George's mind, still sharp as a tack, observing, processing, and frankly, feeling increasingly frustrated. He wasn't speaking up, not because he couldn't or didn't understand, but because a lifetime of being a measured, thoughtful man made him hesitant to cause conflict with his loved ones. He was also, if he was honest with himself, tired of having to prove he was still with it. The weight of their underestimation was exhausting. One day, a well-meaning but pushy financial advisor brought in by his son was explaining a complex investment, glossing over details, clearly assuming George wouldn't grasp them. George listened patiently, and then, in that quiet, deliberate way of his, he asked 3 incredibly precise questions. Questions that revealed he not only understood the proposal, but had also identified its critical flaws and potential risks. The advisor was stunned. His son was, for the first time in a long time, reminded that his father's quietness was not emptiness. George had to learn to let his inner powerhouse be seen, not aggressively, but authentically. He started to voice his opinions more readily, not with anger, but with the calm authority of his accumulated wisdom. He realized that his silence, born of a desire for peace, was being misread as incapacity. This brings us to the core of it, the weapon of wisdom, turning inward for true north. Your greatest tool, your most potent defense, and your most profound source of guidance in these years is that very inner strength we've been exploring. It's your finely honed intuition, your deep well of experience, your unshakable sense of self that remains when all the external labels begin to fade. When faced with a confusing situation, a manipulative person, or a difficult decision, the world might shout 1,000 opinions. Your younger self might have frantically sought external advice. But the elder, The one who is truly flowering knows to first turn inward, to listen to that quiet voice, that gut feeling, that profound sense of knowing that has been cultivated over decades. This isn't about becoming isolated. It's about becoming selective. It's about trusting your internal compass above all else. This wisdom is your shield. It tells you when an offer is too good to be true. It alerts you when someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. It guides you on when to speak up and when silence is the more powerful response. So, how do we cultivate and protect this inner powerhouse? Because like any precious resource, it needs nurturing. First, embrace solitude for reflection. In a world terrified of being alone, solitude is where your inner voice gets louder. It's not loneliness, it's chosen stillness. Time to simply be, to reflect, to integrate your experiences, to hear the whispers of your own wisdom without the clamor of external demands. This is where your clarity sharpens. Second, curate your energy fiercely. Just as you wouldn't let just anyone wander through your home, don't let just anyone wander through your emotional or mental space. Who energizes you? Who respects your wisdom? Who sees your strength even when it's quiet? And conversely, who drains you? Who consistently underestimates you or leaves you feeling diminished? Your energy is a precious currency. Spend it wisely with those who replenish, not deplete. This isn't selfish, it's self-preservation, essential for your powerhouse to thrive. Third, share your wisdom. Don't just store it. Like Eleanor with her grandson, your experiences, your perspective are invaluable gifts. Find ways to share them, not by lecturing, but by storytelling, by listening deeply and responding from that well of experience. This not only benefits others, but also reaffirms your own strength and purpose. It keeps the powerhouse active and engaged. Fourth, trust your gut unequivocally. That intuitive hit, that feeling that something is off or right, it's been calibrated by a lifetime of data. Don't dismiss it. Don't let others talk you out of it. Your intuition is your most reliable early warning system and your most profound guide. Honoring it is honoring the deepest part of your wisdom. Fifth, practice gentle assertiveness. Like George, learn that your voice, even if quiet, deserves to be heard. Setting boundaries, stating your needs, correcting misperceptions, these aren't acts of aggression, they are acts of self-respect. It's about ensuring your inner strength is acknowledged and respected in the outer world. You don't need to roar to be heard, but you do need to speak. Imagine a life where instead of feeling like you're fading, you feel yourself concentrating, like a fine wine developing deeper, more complex notes. Imagine navigating challenges not with frantic fear, but with a calm, centered knowing. Imagine your presence being a source of quiet strength and profound wisdom for those around you, not because you're trying to be, but simply because you are. This isn't a fantasy. This is the potential that resides within the elderflowerings of your life. The world may try to hand you a script of diminishment, of quiet retreat into the shadows, but you hold the pen. You have the power to rewrite that narrative, to reveal the stunning truth that aging isn't just about growing old, it's about growing into your most potent, authentic, and powerful self. The powerhouse is there, within you. It's been building your whole life. Now is the time to own it, to honor it, and to let its quiet, unshakable strength illuminate your path. Thank you for joining me on Elderflowerings today. Take a moment this week to listen to that inner hum, to acknowledge the incredible resilience and clarity you've earned. You are stronger than you think, wiser than you know, and more powerful than the world often gives you credit for. Embrace that truth. Until next time, keep flowering.